How much do we really know about Joseph Stalin, the man whose decisions altered the course of history and left an indelible mark on the world? Today, we delve into the enigma that is Stalin, a name that reverberates through the annals of history with a sense of awe and dread. Born as Ioseb Vissarionis Dzhugashvili in the rustic confines of Gori, Georgia, the man who would later adopt the moniker Stalin, meaning man of steel, was far removed from the corridors of power in his early years. His childhood was marred by poverty and hardship, elements that arguably shaped and hardened his character. His father was a shoemaker and his mother, a washerwoman. They lived in a world where survival was the order of the day, and luxury was a distant dream. Young Stalin was a bright student, and he earned a scholarship to a seminary in Tbilisi, although he would later abandon his theological studies to join the revolutionary movement against the Tsarist regime. The influence of these early years on Stalin's political career cannot be underestimated. The struggle, the ambition, the rebellion against the status quo, all these factors played a crucial role in shaping the man who would go on to rule the Soviet Union with an iron fist. His humble beginnings are a stark contrast to the immense power he would later wield, a testament to his cunning, ambition, and ruthlessness. Stalin's life is a study in contrasts. He was a man who rose from obscurity to become one of the most powerful figures in the world. He was a leader who was both revered and feared, a man capable of great ruthlessness and yet at times showed a surprising degree of pragmatism. A man of humble beginnings, Stalin's rise to power was as remarkable as it was ruthless. As we delve deeper into his life and legacy, we will attempt to unravel the complexities of this man, who continues to be a subject of intense debate and analysis. One thing, however, remains certain: the world was never the same after Joseph Stalin. How does a man born to a cobbler in a small village rise to become one of the most powerful figures in the world? This is the enigma of Joseph Stalin, a name that would cast a long shadow over the 20th century. Stalin, born in the late 19th century in the small Georgian town of Gori, was the son of a cobbler and a washerwoman. His early life was marked by hardship and violence, experiences that would shape his ruthless approach to power. As a young man, Stalin found his calling not in the cobbler's shop, but in the revolutionary fervor sweeping through Russia. He became involved in revolutionary activities, aligning himself with the Bolshevik faction of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party. His talent for organization, combined with a readiness for violence, quickly caught the eye of the party's leader, Vladimir Lenin. Stalin's rise through the ranks of the Soviet Union's political structure was not a straight path, but a series of clever maneuvers and ruthless purges. When Lenin died in 1924, Stalin was well positioned to take over. He outmaneuvered his rivals, including Leon Trotsky, and by the late 20s had consolidated his power. Stalin's leadership was marked by an iron will and a complete disregard for individual freedoms. His policies transformed the Soviet Union from a largely agrarian society into an industrial powerhouse. But this came at a tremendous cost. Millions of people were forced into labor, and countless lives were lost in the process. Yet, Stalin's grip on power remained unshaken. His tactical acumen was undeniable. He understood the nature of power and how to wield it. His ability to manipulate, intimidate, and eliminate those who stood in his way was chillingly effective. He was a master of creating an environment of fear and uncertainty, which kept his potential rivals off balance and allowed him to maintain control. Stalin's ascension to power was a testament to his cunning and unrelenting ambition. He was a man who rose from humble beginnings to shape the course of history, a testament to the power of ambition, ruthlessness, and a keen understanding of the nature of power. What was life like under Stalin's rule? What was his vision for the Soviet Union? Stalin's reign was one of transformative policies and initiatives, marked by an ambitious vision for the Soviet Union. This vision, however, was often realized through brutal and repressive means. A key pillar of Stalin's rule was his aggressive push for industrialization. Determined to rapidly modernize the Soviet Union, he implemented a series of 5-year plans starting in 1928. These plans aimed to transform the Soviet Union from a largely agrarian society to a major industrial power. The results were mixed. On one hand, the Soviet Union did indeed become a formidable industrial force. On the other hand, the human cost was staggering, with millions of workers living in abysmal conditions and many losing their lives to accidents, starvation, or overwork. Simultaneously, Stalin undertook a radical transformation of agriculture through a policy known as collectivization. He aimed to replace individual peasant farms with large, state-controlled collective farms. The idea was to increase agricultural efficiency and support the industrialization efforts. But the reality was far from the ideal. Collectivization led to widespread resistance, famine, and the death of millions. Then came the Great Purge, a campaign of political repression from 1936 to 1938. Stalin, paranoid about potential threats to his power, targeted perceived enemies within the Communist Party, the military, and the general population. Estimates of the death toll range from hundreds of thousands to over 1 million. These policies had profound impacts on the Soviet people. While some benefited from the industrial growth and increased global standing of the Soviet Union, many more suffered. The industrialization and collectivization efforts resulted in widespread hardship and death, and the pervasive fear of the Great Purge permeated all aspects of life. Stalin's reign was a time of great change and great terror, a paradox that defines his legacy. What was the global impact of Stalin's decisions? How did his actions shape the world we live in today? To answer these questions, we must first look at World War II, where Stalin played a pivotal role. As the leader of the Soviet Union, Stalin's decisions had far-reaching consequences. When Hitler violated the Non-Aggression Pact and invaded the Soviet Union, Stalin's Red Army fought back with unmatched tenacity and resilience. The Soviet Union's victory at the Battle of Stalingrad marked a turning point in the war, halting the Nazi advance and starting a counteroffensive that would ultimately lead to the downfall of Hitler's Third Reich. But Stalin's impact wasn't limited to the battlefield. His leadership also shaped the political landscape of the post-war world. The Yalta Conference of 1945, where Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt met to discuss the reorganization of Europe, set the stage for the Cold War. The division of Germany and the establishment of the Eastern Bloc were direct results of Stalin's post-war diplomacy, marking the beginning of an ideological and political divide that would last for almost half a century. Stalin's domestic policies also had international implications. His ruthless pursuit of industrialization and collectivization led to widespread famine and millions of deaths. Yet these policies also turned the Soviet Union into a global superpower, capable of challenging the United States on the world stage. Even after his death, the influence of Stalin's decisions continued to be felt. The power structure he established in the Soviet Union persisted for decades, influencing the course of the Cold War and shaping the geopolitical dynamics of the 20th century. In conclusion, Stalin's impact on the world was profound and far-reaching. His role in World War II and the Cold War, along with the long-term effects of his policies, have left an indelible mark on the global political landscape. Stalin's actions during his reign have left a lasting impression on the world, an impression that resonates even today. How do we remember Stalin? As a dictator, a visionary, a tyrant, or a hero? This question is as complex as the man himself, reflecting the multifaceted nature of his legacy. There are those who admire Stalin as a hero, a man who transformed the Soviet Union from a largely agrarian society into an industrial powerhouse. Under his leadership, the Soviet Union became one of the world's superpowers, matching the might of the United States and its allies in the West. This was no small feat, considering the state of the country when he took the reins. To these admirers, Stalin was a visionary who saw the potential of his country and did everything in his power to realize it. Yet this viewpoint is not universally shared. For many, the name Stalin is synonymous with tyranny. His reign was marked by purges, forced labor, and famine. Millions perished under his rule, victims of his unyielding pursuit of power and control. His policies led to widespread suffering, with countless lives destroyed in the name of progress. To these critics, Stalin was a ruthless dictator whose legacy is one of pain and oppression. Today, the impact of Stalin's decisions can still be felt in Russia. The country's political structure, its economy, even its national identity, all bear the indelible imprint of Stalin's rule. His influence has shaped the trajectory of the nation, for better or worse. But perhaps the most significant aspect of Stalin's legacy is the conversation it continues to provoke. His life and leadership are subjects of intense debate, with historians, scholars, and ordinary citizens alike grappling with the paradox of a man capable of such greatness and such horror. This discourse is a testament to the lasting impact of Stalin's rule, a complex tapestry of triumph and tragedy that continues to intrigue and confound us. Stalin's legacy is as complex as the man himself, a tapestry of triumph and tragedy that continues to intrigue and confound us.